Hello, folks. I hope you're having just a great day today. Today I'm taking another look at Clark Ashton Smith. This time I'm taking a look at his short story, The Holiness of Azédarac. I am sure that I am slaughtering that. It's the first short story in this collection. It's spelled A-Z-E-D-A-R-A-C. I'll put it down there in case you're interested. With an accent over these, I am sure I'm slaughtering it. It's probably some French word. But the holiness of this gentleman. It's 16 pages in this collection that I have for you, which I'll link to you below. Now, this story is, I'm reviewing this when I'm in my Clark Ashton Smith mood in like October, November, December, but this is actually set in Cthulhu Mythos. So I'm thinking about maybe just waiting to review this and just holding off on it until I get back to my Cthulhu Mythos October, or I might just be like, hey, I'll just give it to you anyway. Depends, but I want to relieve myself open to that. I tend to play with this channel organically. I do plan things out, but I tend to be organic with them too. But every plan, any battle plan once you meet the enemy can be changed, must be changed in order to survive or win the battle. So we'll take a look at the Holiness of Azédarac. Now, this is a story that is set in the Middle Ages in France. And Clark Ashton Smith was a creator of many different worlds. In my opinion, the quick takes of the three big writers for the Weird Tales era of the pulps is that H.P. Lovecraft is the creator of the mythos of cosmic horror. And Robert E. Howard is the creator of heroes, pulp era heroes like Conan the Barbarian, Solomon Kane, Cult the Conqueror. He's about the characters, the heroes, and Clark Ashton Smith is about the worlds, and he will create these worlds. And each of these worlds, whether you're talking about Sothique or Hyperborea or this one, have a lot of different stories that flesh out the world, but they rarely have the same characters over and over and over again. Unlike, say, Conan, who is set in a world of Conan, but where each of the stories features Conan. You don't have a story set in the Conan timeline by Robert E. Howard that's by another character. But this doesn't happen. He's all about the character. And on the other hand, you do have that happen in H.P. Lovecraft stuff, but his stuff has the bad guys are recurring, and the good guys keep changing up because they keep dying or going mad or joining the bad guys, right? And that sort of thing happens. So he has a very different style of world crafting than Howard, and Howard has a very different style of world crafting than Clark Ashton Smith, who's the world crafter. And each of these worlds has a different story that's set in a different place at a different time with a different character, and seeing a different part of the world. So here we're going to be taking a look at the bishopric of Zim in the section of the world that is called Averoigne. Well, and this is my second story I've actually read in this, and actually the second review I'm doing for you too. The Maker of Gargoyles was the first one that I've read in this, and it's the next story in this collection. I read this story just a couple of nights ago. I'm recording this on Tuesday, and I read it on Tuesday morning, and I read this on a Sunday. So I just read it a couple of days ago for the first time, and I really enjoyed it. I'll try to link you to both this collection below that has all of Clark Ashton Smith things in 5-volume set for less than $100, and then I'll also link you to an online somewhere. I'm sure I'll be able to find it. His stuff tends to be past a copyright date where I can find it. So if I can find it, I will also find you to a free collection somewhere too, in case you're interested in not reading it in print version. I'm more than happy to link you to both if I can find the latter. Some of his stuff, because he died so much later, in his, some of the copyright is sometimes a little bit sometimes held. So we'll just have to check and see what I can find for you. Basically what we're going to happen to start this story, and this section, I forgot to mention, this section was also incredibly influential on Dungeons & Dragons. Not only was Clark Ashton Smith's stuff just generally heavily influential, but the short story module that's done by the Castle Amber, that's set in my Stara in the early 80s, is set literally in the short stories by Clark Ashton Smith in this section of the world during the Middle Ages. It actually has a portal to this world, and so you can transfer from one to the other. And this is a kind of a light fantasy element with a lot of sort of good versus evil. So we're going to open up in a bishopric of Zim, X-I-M-E-S, and in this bishopric, basically we're going to find that the person who runs this bishopric has been under has held it for almost 10 years, and is currently under investigation by the Archbishop of the region, who believes that he has done some dark and evil things. His name is Azédarac, so we'll be following along Azédarac's sort of quest. And we're going to find out very early on that he has done some dark and evil things. And he had a visitor from the Archbishopric who just absconded with the Book of Averoigne, which is a book in the Cthulhu Mythos, and has left with his copy of it. Now, he tried to hold it. He tried to disguise it by changing its cover to a Christian cover, and by having it near a bunch of like prayer books and hymnals and that sort of thing, so that it wouldn't seem like it was out of place by an innocent observer. But unfortunately, his visitor Ambrose has visited him and absconded with the Book of Averoigne. And clearly he's going back to tell the Archbishop, so that way he'll lose his bishopric, and he does not want that to happen. So he sets out his sort of minion who works for him to go kill the person. He has created a poison that will kill Ambrose, and so he sends out this poison with this character. And then this character, now we're going to switch after the first couple of pages, and we're going to follow Ambrose, and we're going to follow Ambrose for the rest of the story. So the first point of view character is actually Azédarac, the bad guy, for the first couple of pages, and then we'll switch over, and then the point of view character will then be Ambrose for the rest of the short story, which is again about 16 pages long. So about 14 of those pages will be Ambrose. So you're going to follow him. He's going to be journeying back to the Archbishopric. He's going to run into the minion, but the minion will be disguised in another form, which he alludes to when he says, because the minion and him know each other, but the minion says to his master, basically, to the Bishop of Zim, he says he won't know me if he doesn't see me. And then I think that's the last thing he says. So it's been foreshadowed that he's going to appear in a different form to Ambrose, and he does. And guess what happens? Of course, Ambrose takes the poison, and some stuff is going to happen to him. But what happens to Ambrose, and what will end up happening to to Azédarac, the big bad of the story? Well, you have to read the short story to find out. So there you are. I'll go ahead and leave you to it. Have you read the story? Again, this is incredibly well written by Clark Ashton Smith. I would give it an 8 out of 10. It's just incredibly strong, incredibly well crafted, incredibly well detailed, and it's just an incredibly strong story. He wrote this, and he published this short story in Weird Tales in 1933. He wrote it the previous year, and it was sold pretty quickly, actually, according to the social notes on the end of this by the editor itself. So I'll go ahead and have you read it, Holiness? Do you agree or disagree with my take on it, or would you like to talk about the story in more detail in the comments below? I would love to do that with you. If you enjoyed this video, please feel encouraged to hit the subscribe button. There's going to be a lot of these to follow, and I really do appreciate that you did that. I also appreciate the fact that you watched my video all the way to the end, man. We all have so many things that happen, right, in our lives, and we're being pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me is incredibly humbling, and I do appreciate it. So thanks again, and have a great day.